very good afternoon. We shall start in next 3 to 4 minutes. Yes, people are joining us. Thank you so much. Hello, very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta Dubey. So before I start, I would like to know if I'm audible. If anyone can please let me know.
Yes, Ekta, you're audible.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So hello all, a very good afternoon. Myself, Ekta Dubey, and on behalf of the Branalytics team and our partners Zoho and Ozontel, we welcome you all and thank you for being part of our webinar, which is Conversational CX, how e-commerce brands are personalizing shopping experiences at scale. So before we start the webinar, I would request all the attendees to be on mute, please, when the speakers are taking their respective sessions. Of course, we will be encouraging the Q&A after the session. Also, you can put your questions on the chat box where our moderator will take it from there. After the panel discussions and the speakers are done, you need to raise your hands, unmute yourself, and you can introduce yourself and put your question to the speakers to ask it yourself. Requesting the audience to please mute yourself in case you have not muted. Yeah. So now I would like to introduce our partners. Zoho. For more than 25 years, Zoho has been committed to building software and technology that helps business excel. From small companies to large organizations, 18 million plus users worldwide rely on Zoho to get work done. Zoho is a privately held and profitable with more than 11,000 employees. Its privacy-first approach long-term thinking, deep engineering focus, and customer-centric philosophy makes it one of the world's most prolific technology companies. Another partner we have is Ozontel, was founded in 2007 by an experienced team of technologists and entrepreneurs. Their full stack customer experience software was built from the ground up to solve the practical problems that keep call centers worldwide from making the most of their communications platform. Today, in this webinar, we shall talk about how you can meet customers exactly where they are in their journey on the channels of their choices. Our experts here today will share insights on curating seamless personalized experiences with conversational commerce that would ultimately help you to manage support tickets, automate inquiries, recover abandoned cards, increase average order value, and improve your customer satisfaction. Happy to introduce our wonderful set of thought leaders today. We have Mr. Ram Pradeep Kumar P, Senior Product Consultant with Ozontel, Mr. Prashant Kanchurila, VP Products with Ozontel, Mr. Rajesh Kannan, Product Manager, Telephony Integrations, Zohodesk, and a lovely moderator, Ms. Garima Gayatri from Ozontel. So thank you all the thought leaders, and we look forward to your very interesting insights on e-commerce today. Now over to you, Garima, to take it up. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ekta, for the introduction. I'll just wait for Ram to connect with us. I think he's having some issues. Requesting Aarti to please switch off your video. Aarti, if you could hear me. Yeah, thanks. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Garima.
Okay, I think Ram is not able to hear me. Aarti, please switch off your video. Yes. Yeah, Ram is here.
Hi, Garima. Hi, Prashant.
Now, Rajesh, I can't see you.
He has switched off his video. He'll be on, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. Thank you, Ekta, for the lovely introduction. And to begin with, and I'll just request the audience to please keep your audio and video on mute. I think Pooja has also connected through iPhone. Yeah, thanks. Because it might just confuse our audience because the spotlight needs to be on the speakers, right? So thank you so much for your patience. We can probably agree on this. In our everyday life, we interact with brands all the time. We find ourselves picking up our phone to order groceries, book cabs, or buy anything from shoes to cars. We spend hours of our time during commutes between chores and after work, literally building brands by purchasing and owning their products. While we are all part of the online shopping drift, there's one thing that's constantly changing: the way we talk to brands and how these brands communicate with us. Simple, easy, and intuitive. That's the experience customers expect when they go shopping online. But at times, e-commerce can be hard work. And this is where conversational commerce comes into the picture, an emerging approach to digital commerce that prioritizes direct, natural conversations between consumers and brands. Conversational experiences add value by assisting, streamlining, and improving virtually every interaction customers have with your brand online. Conversational commerce is not just the future of customer experience and e-commerce, it's happening right now and becoming a competitive advantage for brands that learn how to do it right. So today, we'll dive deep into shifting customer expectations, rise of e-commerce brands, a great customer experience, what goes into building these great customer experiences, and why is personalization at the heart of this narrative. And on this note, I open our keynote question for all our guests. which is how do you see the e-commerce landscape evolving, particularly in terms of buying behavior? Prashant, if you would like to lead the conversation, that would be great.
Yeah, thanks, Garima. So, see, first of all, one thing which we can all agree on is there is no loyalty. Okay, even if you take myself, right, I will buy from a site where I find the right product. Maybe I'm not a ICP where I'll look for a discount. I'll look for the product which I want in that specific color, that specific model, and buy it. But do e-commerce companies build a program just for customers like me? We don't know, because sale at volumes is something which e-commerce industry targets, right? So when you build something which is around the customer, it has to be a program which works for the masses, not for specific customers. Okay.
Right.
Now, obviously, the marketing teams would define the ICP, what kind of customers they're targeting, what is the product positioning they're having for the website itself. Okay. Like, can you think of a large scale volume company? Everybody would say Amazon, right? Okay, nobody's going to say Myntra for it. But when you talk of fashion, they will say Myntra. They will not say Amazon anymore. Okay. So that's the positioning which people are building. Okay. But how does this translate in terms of modern technology, right? So what we're seeing is, especially when you take advanced markets like US, okay, while they're advanced in terms of traditional technologies, e-commerce is something where they still lag to an extent in terms of consumer behavior. The Asian markets are much more advanced here. Okay, so we already have startups which are selling clothes with. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So we already have startups which are building virtual changing rooms where I can just type out, I need a trouser size X and color brown, maybe sky blue, okay, with some checks in it. And they would just show me the catalog, not just as a line item, but actually they're actually showing me how I would look like when I wear it. Okay, if you're using technologies like DALI or which depends on stable diffusion, right? Users can now type text and get images of how it would be. Okay, so these are things which are changing the way e-commerce industry works. Okay, this is like that sci-fi technology which is still not yet available for the masses, but that's what is going to be the thing in the next 2-3 years. Okay, but let's go back to the basics. Okay, is your business ready for all of this? That's also really important to look at. So when you start looking at how customers are trying to interact with the business, there are 4 or 5 things which people are looking at. Garima was supposed to share a slide actually. Prantik,
Yes.
Are you there? Would you be able to share?
I'll just share.
Oh, Garima, you're back.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thank you. Okay. So while I've given you an example of what the future of e-commerce could be, right? Where you could use DALI kind of softwares, which are basically AI driven to look at how you look like if you're trying to do shopping experiences on the garment industry. Right now, I know of startups which are doing e-commerce sites where they are looking at building jewelry not through a designer but through AI itself. Okay, so AI could replace some of this, like that's like the most popular statement, right? But it's becoming true more and more as we move forward. So it's already replaced technical writers. There are AI engines which are writing product manuals, technology manuals actually already in the industry. And we have a human who is reviewing it. Instead of 5 people writing it, now the AI system writes it and people are reviewing it. So The same thing is happening in e-commerce where your shopping carts are being changed based on the location of the customer. Okay. That's what that hyper localization talks about, right? You take not just e-commerce, any kind of industry like OTT platforms, they show you content depending on who you are, where you are present. Like I get very different content if I'm in the US from Netflix compared to when I'm in India. Okay. Uh, and of course, they have personalized the streaming content to the extent of your behavior already. The same thing goes with e-commerce. Okay. But let's get back to the basics. Is your company ready for it? Okay. There might be somebody else who's doing stuff which you're not yet doing, but how do you get there, right? So what we put here is like the 5 fundamental blocks which any company would need in a consumer behavior cycle. Okay, and what I believe is the voice of the customer has to be heard everywhere. Okay, so this is a term which is very common in the conversational CX space right now, where you people want you to hear what your customers are saying at every moment. So for an e-commerce industry, it's your customer is not saying anything except when he's talking to your support or chatting with them. But there's a lot of unsaid things when they're browsing your website. That's where that awareness, engagement, consideration aspects come in. Okay, and uh, he might not yet have visited your site, but obviously they have visited Google. They're searching for something, and can you show the uh, right model, right thing for me as a user? If you take me as an example, right? Maybe I'm looking for shoes. My size is 14. So can you show me a 14 number shoes which are pretty fancy and good looking? But at the same time, can your uh, engagement or ad engine detect that what's my taste based on my past browsing history? So these are things which engage the customers in awareness and engagement. Okay, and it's not just about showing the customer an ad. It's also about when I'm browsing there, can you actually send out the right promotional campaign? So can you send a WhatsApp message to me saying this is here's a discount coupon which you can use to buy these shoes. Okay, so when you show me the ad or the content on the website and you actually give me a discount coupon right then and there. It could be on the website, it could be much more personalized if you send it on a WhatsApp message to me. Uh, I would probably buy it just because of how you have promoted that particular item to me as a user. Okay. So how do you engage with these customers? Of course, tracking is needed, uh, which will enable you to customize each of the messaging that you're doing to customers. Okay, but more importantly, is your brand yet there? Do you have the data to track this? If not, how do you get there, right? So uh, in conversational CX, there are a few things, right? One is that spray and pray model. Okay, so do a promotional campaign. Let's say you don't have anything right now. What e-commerce companies are doing is they do a spray and pray campaign. I don't know what my user behavior is yet. I know that there are 1 million customers who visited my website. They have searched for something. I don't have analytics on that, but I can always send out a promotional campaign saying, here's a coupon, 10% discount on anything you buy today. Okay. Will that push maybe 100,000 users back to the website to purchase my net sale for the day? And of that, what are the popular products which people have bought? So if you're a startup just starting off, do you have technology to gather this data? If you have, then yeah, you past that phase one where you can actually go into AI-based analytics, start doing retargeting for customers. Like I just bought an iPhone. Have you marketed me the AirPods or the pencil which that's something what we're talking about when we talk of retargeting. Okay. So these are certain things which are already happening in the industry. And if you are an e-commerce company which doesn't do this, then you are a laggard already. So these are like the pretty basic things which are needed. But I would say without this, you can't even go ahead. So while there's a lot of fancy stuff, these are check boxes which you should look at whether your company is doing doing this? Are you able to track these behaviors of customer first? Okay.
Right.
So yeah, and Rajesh, anything to add from how you look at these behaviors from a a customer data platform point of view, because you handle the huge amounts of data from customers, right? So how does that impact e-commerce companies?
Yeah, actually, the main problem in terms of service when the customer, when we are running e-commerce sites, we will be having a lot of tickets to handle with either it's a sales side or customer support side. And when we talk about volumes, so we have to see the way, or we have to find out the way to reduce that volume. That doesn't mean we have to make a less number of customers. We have to make more, but we have to make make our e-commerce site to self-serviceable. So the customer should not come to us for a small know how to or small information. So there should the site should help the customer to self-service, and the customer support time should be allowed to service critical problems of the customers in terms of criticality. Say if they have any refund problem or product issues, the customer support agent time or the sales agent time should be focused more on the based on the criticality of the problem the customer is facing, instead of wasting time on small know-hows. And one more thing is nowadays, as you said, you clearly explained. So the need of personalization and human touch in terms of servicing the customers, they expect more on that aspect. So for that, what we can do? So that's one is self-service, and second thing is omnichannel support. So when customers having problem in terms of purchase process or after purchase, so we should allow them to use multi channels wherever they are. We have to allow the customer to reach us, and we cannot say we will support only this channel. That's old era, and now we cannot expect a customer to come via one channel. So we have to be ready support all channels. And when we reduce the volume and allow the focus on the criticality of the issues, then we will give high quality support, which means that the customers, when we reach our customer support or our team, they will get good support, and that will lead to more happiness, customer satisfaction. And one more thing is when we look into that service part, we can say in the purchase process, if customer is hanging somewhere, and if there is some issues after that, we have to be proactive in our notification mechanism or informing about the problems. Say when there is a problem raised by the customer, we have to be open, and our entire process should be open, and customer have to know uh, where are we and what's the process going on, so that based on these stuff we can gain loyalty from customers, and they will stick long with us.
Yeah, and
Right.
just to add to that, right? See, while of course you can't ignore support for a lot of things. Uh,
Yes.
the best e-commerce companies, obviously, Amazon is the biggest example you can give, right? Is where you don't need support most of the times. 99% of the time, systems run without support. That
Yes.
is one of the best customer experiences you can provide to a customer. That builds
Yes.
trust, of course. So that builds out loyalty, trust, and they are repeat transactions which come through. But especially, just take Amazon as an example, right? If you face an issue with a product, most of the times they would either replace the product without asking questions. The support guy himself is enabled to approve certain amount of budgets. And most of us know that Amazon does these steps, but how many of us can replicate that in our company? That's something which we have to look at inward. Also, when you start looking at support instead of as a cost center, right? Look at it as something which builds repeatable transactions on your e-commerce site. Then you would see a profitable customer service department, okay? Especially when you talk of support, because if your support executives can handle the issues in a right manner, and if your system is capable of giving the right information to customers, like I faced an issue with my existing cart on, let's say, Big Basket, okay, who is a customer. Big Basket sends me a discount coupon for the pending order in my cart, okay, along with a refund of what they couldn't deliver. I would go and use the discount coupon back because, again, it's vertical based, right? Grocery e-commerce is very, very different from a garment industry. If I get a garment which I cannot, it doesn't fit me, then obviously I would return it. But maybe I won't buy again from that site because the size I wanted wasn't what they sent me. So the trust is lost there. But especially if, like grocery, right? If I don't get an item in that, that's okay. I'll use a discount coupon if Big Basket gives it on my next order. But they don't lose me as a customer. So it also depends on the vertical you are in. So some of these things could be applied in general, but some of these things like sending a discount coupon for a support ticket might not work in all the industries. So obviously you have to look at what works for your particular vertical where you have the business versus what others are doing.
Right. Prashant, you also highlighted one very interesting thing that's about nudging the user at the right time, right? If you're talking about discount coupons, or what kind of behavior are we expecting from them and how are we responding as a brand? But there's this just one question I want to understand, and this is just out of plain curiosity, at what point does a brand need to understand that now the messaging is getting too much? At what point do we need to tone it down a bit because it is getting a bit overwhelming for the consumer?
So, see, something which I haven't seen even with Amazon, right? Most of these offers come over email, and of course, nobody's reading emails, especially for promotions. Okay. Now, if they send me on WhatsApp, I feel it's intrusive. I won't read those messages. I'll block those companies. If they send an SMS, of course, I'm not reading SMSs as a user. Okay. Now, what do brands do to send the right message at the right time? And what is the right amount to send, right? Okay. You would see this especially with newsletters, which a lot of technology companies send. Also, right, like if you are part of any Google group, you can actually choose to get everything as a bundle instead of one single email for every message. You can actually bundle it for daily, weekly, or monthly summaries for that group, right? So I haven't seen any e-commerce company show telling me that I can get bundled offers at start of the month where I can actually choose what is it that I want for that month. That's something which you can try and see. There's no right or wrong with any kind of a process. Okay, everything is trial and error. Okay, so what is the right amount is something the brand will have to figure out based on trial and error. So you will obviously have to create user groups, do pilots with different user groups. Of course, the same profile. Okay, if you change the ICP, then of course the behavior is completely different. Okay. But if you're using the same ICP, and you make user groups and test their journeys, the brand can easily figure out what is the right amount of messaging they have to do. Also, sending it at the right time is again a trial and error thing. I might say, if I'm on the shopping cart, if you send me a message, I'll buy it. Okay. But Ram might say that, hey, this is too intrusive. How do you know that I'm on your shopping cart? Why are you tracking me right now? I don't want to buy from you because you're tracking me, right? So it brings back to that core point, right? Do you have different personas, different categories for customers who are browsing your sites? And for each of those categories, do you have a specific program which actually sends out those messages? So for extra premium categories, right? Like what I know is from one of our e-commerce clients, they have a list of platinum customers who do a transaction of more than 10,000 in one e-commerce transaction. Okay, and they do it three or four times in a month. they will never send promotional offers to those customers. Okay. It's a waste of money and time because those customers are not bothered about promotions or discounts. They just want to go purchase and they don't want to be disturbed again. Okay. And what happened was they tried to see if they can nudge people to buy more because they are premium customers. Maybe they'll buy double the carts. That was something the e-commerce site experimented. And what they found was, in fact, their sales reduced the month they increased promotions because a lot of clients didn't purchase from them in that month, especially in that IC. Okay. But the same experiment, when done on a very transactional customer base, where the average size was like 1,000 to 1,500 rupees in a single transaction, they also transact 3 or 4 times in a month. Frequency is the same. When promotions were sent out, the sales actually tripled. Okay. This was in the grocery industry, of course. So that's why the transactions are 3 or 4 times a month. But basically, when you look at customers, right, some customers would need those promotions, some won't need it. But do you have the right categories in your company is very, very important. So while the technology is there to do conversational CX, right, who are the right customers with whom you would do that is very, very critical in a B2C industry.
Right, right. And Ram, how would you like to add to this narrative? How do you see the e-commerce landscape evolving over the years? Especially with the pandemic, we have seen some major changes in our online shopping behavior. How are you looking at this picture, Ram?
Yeah, I often picture the customer journey as a complete road trip, a long route, I can say, with many destinations rather than one. Like you rightly said, in this pandemic, you can't step out, but you can get it wherever you are through online. So e-commerce is something which has helped us, everyone might have experienced in the last 2 years, right? So, but one thing which we are missing, I can say from a challenging perspective, the e-commerce which has faced many brands, they were losing focus on customers owning to the number of channels they are coming from. Right? If we can track that, it is easy to nudge those customers if they are coming from multiple sources. So we know from where they are coming from, right? And let me take that example which Prashant has given. He is going on checking a product on site 1, and he is going on he see a product on Facebook or any other channel, then validate the brand on an Instagram, then order that from their website, opt for messaging via WhatsApp, and rant about delayed delivery on Twitter, right? So this is a new era. Welcome to the new era of e-commerce. It's fiercely competitive, and we need to figure out what is the best solution. For me, I can say an omni-channel experience e-commerce can adopt. That's the only way brands can stay relevant and retain the customers.
Right. Yeah.
And Garima, just to add to that, right? Previously, it was you needed to have websites 10 years back for e-commerce. 5 years back, mobile apps was the thing, right? Now, like Ram said, right, there are a lot of people who do WhatsApp and Instagram business. Okay, there's nothing else. They don't have a website. They don't have anything else. Okay, and what triggers customers to buy from there is only trust. Okay, the trust comes from various circles, and how do these brands form those circles? It's simply through marketing. Okay, there's nothing else. Now, most of these WhatsApp and Insta businesses, they actually don't do a targeted model. They just do a spray and pray kind of a model. Okay, some guys succeed, some don't. But the guys who succeeded, one big learning from any of them. Okay, they change their cart. Okay, the categories they sell. Okay, they change depending on the kind of sale they're getting in those initial few months. Okay, I might put a big list of 100 things on my Instagram. there'll be demand only for 10 things. Okay, the 80-20 rule follows anyway. Okay, and what they do is in that 20 which sell, they bring in more categories and varieties within that. They don't go for the rest 80 anymore. Okay,
Right.
and what they perfected there. So the conversational CX need not be just bots or anything. Okay, it could be as simple as what you update on your WhatsApp status. Okay, for all it matters.
Yes.
Okay, even that's communication, right? That's customer experience for the group of people who follow you and see the material you're putting up on your WhatsApp status. Okay.
Right, Prashant. And I think there's another aspect of this story, because we definitely see a lot of small businesses, medium-sized businesses coming up on Instagram and WhatsApp. But the other thing that I feel is the amount of data that we are able to share with these businesses. As you said, it depends on like how much we are able to trust them as a brand. But these businesses are new, these brands are new. They don't have a brand positioning that exists for other well-known brands. So how much a consumer can actually share with these brands is also an aspect that we need to look into in terms of security, data sharing, and privacy. So what are your thoughts on this?
So see, when you data security becomes really, really important, especially when you're doing e-commerce at a very large scale. Okay, when I say large scale, maybe you're at about at least $20 million ACV, just in terms of transactional gross market value that you're transacting on the site. Okay, below that, most of the times, the people who are buying also know that it's a one-time transaction. Usually, you don't have repeat customers yet. You haven't yet solved that repeatability problem at all. You don't have any loyalty programs. You don't have promotional campaigns based on user behavior. These are not things which those companies are doing. Okay, they're still figuring out what is it that sells on their website or on their Insta or on their app. Okay, so for the smaller e-commerce companies, data security might not be so important because at least the payment gateways are all sorted now. UPI is a big game changer, right, for e-commerce. Okay, so that brings in a pretty secure way of transacting things. Most of WhatsApp and Insta commerce happens on UPI. Okay, there's no payment gateway at all. They don't have payment gateway. It's just UPI, nothing else. Okay. So obviously, 5 years back, before UPI was there, the kind of security issues which e-commerce sites had to address, that has reduced to an extent. Also, there are so many players now, like Razorpay and others, who have actually solved most of these issues already. Okay, so you did not reinvent the wheel. You can just subscribe to one of these services, and the problem is solved for you in terms of secure transacting. Okay.
Right.
Prashant,
moving on. I think we can. Yes, Ram, please.
Well, I wanted to add a point what Prashant mentioned. Though the payment gateways, that security is all in place in the nowadays, in the last few years. But Prashant, I feel this the small e-commerce sites has a limited control on the cyber attack. So in case of a cyber attack, a business cannot afford a downtime in operations and sales. So
no, that's where that's what AWS has solved for most of commerce, right? Get on AWS. All you have to do is get a link from GoDaddy, go on or DigitalOcean. In fact, DigitalOcean offers much better services now for e-commerce sites, but it's up to you. You could be a AWS aficionado, so you go on that. But all these problems are already solved at a large scale. So there's nothing we need to think about. All you need to do is go put your card and subscribe to the services.
They have to be in a right approach. Which one?
Obviously. So to put it simple, technology plays a big role. Obviously, you are in e-commerce. Okay. Now, which technologies you choose at the start will make a big difference 2 years later when you scale up. Okay. Of course, if you don't scale up, then there's nothing to talk. But if your business is scaling up, what technologies have you selected at the start will make a big difference. Like let's say you're not using a Zoho platform at all, right? You're using something in-house. Your platform wouldn't scale unless you have a large development team. That's something Zoho has already solved for businesses. If you use Zoho, you can expand the suite, use anything that you need, right? They have Manage Engine, which is one of their older products for security. Okay, because you said security, I'm just mentioning that it covers everything that you need in terms of ITSM. Okay, internal ITSM policies. While e-commerce, your website is a customer-friendly thing. There will be a lot of logistics, supply chain management things which you would do in the office. You would need a ITSM policy for it. Zoho has already solved it long time back, actually. Okay. So
while they are initiating a business, e-commerce business, this can be a step number one to do all the checklists, right? Technologies. So they have to think from a
yeah,
maintenance, then communicate.
yeah, and even there, there's nothing much to learn or redo, reinvent the wheel, right? You have 1,000+ e-commerce companies in India. I'm sure everybody would know at least 10 of the founders. If you are in that founder circle, you would know at least 10 of them. You would definitely know what technologies they have adopted, which ones were successful, which are not. And yeah, it's all there. You can just get started right now. That's the easier part, if you were to ask. How do you increase sale? How do you compete in the market? That's really, really critical now than any of the other things, actually. Setting up is pretty easy, actually.
Choosing a right step is something, but that is the decision making. Okay.
Yeah.
And Ram, as you rightly pointed out, that the competition is getting very fierce, right? And we see that CX is becoming a very important differentiator in this space or any industry that we talk about, right? So how are you looking at this part of the story? What are some of the top CX challenges are there that you perceive in this e-commerce space? If you could highlight some of the challenges that brands are struggling with, and what could be the way forward?
The important challenge or the top challenge I can see is now everyone knows all the technologies. They start up with all connectivities, right? Like they have a more data, more choices. Customer comes with connecting with multiple channels. So the more confusion it creates. With the rising customer expectations, the e-commerce players and the demand of the data which customer is expecting, like Prashant was trying to check some products and he is expecting something new, right? I want to wear this t-shirt and I would like to see myself. Or the fast track gives the goggles, I can put my face and it intelligently the AI can connect the glasses and show you a picture. So there's a demand of the data, the customer expectations. The e-commerce marketers are finding themselves with more data than they can handle it, right? And the other thing is this traffic, the high traffic, but the lower conversion rate. This is also one of the day-to-day what e-commerce players will see that. And again, the order fulfillment. So the products are coming into the cart, but they are getting abandoned. How do you fulfill their orders? So maybe the customer experience before purchasing, the pre-purchase journey, right? That is something we need to figure out what is missing and how can we assist them or intelligently communicate with them. So it's all about the communication. Right. On a SMS, WhatsApp, any other channel. So how do you visualize that traffic on your site and turn visitors into customers? Understanding the audience is the key to figure out which marketing channel they can generate this traffic that actually converts into sales.
Right. Rajesh, what are some of the top CX challenges that you are looking at within the e-commerce space? Yeah, Rajesh, am I audible?
Yeah. Can you come again, Garima?
Yeah. So, what are some of the top CX challenges that you perceive within the e-commerce space?
So,
can you hear me?
Yeah. That's what I explained earlier, right?
Yeah. So I just wanted to understand if you would like to add something to what Ram just elaborated upon. Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. No.
Okay. Okay, Prashant.
Yeah.
Prashant,
So
you can.
yeah. So there's a question from Deepika from Biva. Uh, how CX can play a role to bring back lost customers, especially online space? What can we work for them? Is it based on earlier product purchases or new collection promotions? What do we do? So I was quickly looking at what Biva is. So I see that we have a lot of apparel and different accessories for women. Okay. Women actually is the most difficult category, right, for any business. Actually, we are pretty challenging to to satisfy also. Okay, now and see, it's a fact. That's a very difficult task for any marketer. Actually, when you look at it. Uh, so first thing is for lost customers, right? What was the last transaction they did? How many number of transactions they did? Do you have the data for that? Would be the first thing. At least that's what I would have done. I would have looked at how many transactions have those customers done with you before they stopped working. What is the frequency? What are the transactions about? Right? Were those dresses? Were those fragrances? I am just reading out from the list you have. Did they gift something? Did they buy something from wedding store? Was it a collection? Did they buy something for their kids? So these are different categories, right? Now somebody, like I was purchasing dresses for my daughter from a site. Okay, I don't want to promote any site, so not taking the names, but now I stopped that. Now my daughter is become big enough; she's making her own choices. So I start purchasing things, and she decides on her own. So in this scenario, even if you promote to me, right, it won't work out. So that's why what products were those customers purchasing is the first thing, along with the frequency of purchases. That would actually drive lot of intelligence on how can you actually start promoting. Now, the second thing to look at actually new collections would help, especially if somebody was purchasing chudidars and dresses from your site. Obviously, it would be for themselves. Okay, so obviously, whenever you get new collections, if you promote it to them, there is a chance that they would come back. Okay, but to do all of this, right now, telling this is very easy. That do this. Okay, but how do you do this with technology? That's where you have to invest in platforms. Like the core platform you would need is a CDP, customer data platform. Mota mota in layman terms, do you have intelligence about what your customers transacted? And can you actually build out analytics on top of it? Like if I were to ask you if these questions, right, number of transactions of that particular customer set, I won't talk or look at one customer. I would always look at profiling. Okay. So you should always profile your customers, put them into groups, and can you build analytics for that group? That's what is the most important part, and that is what would drive more sales and more brand value. And Garima, to come back to your question, right? What is the most uh, toughest challenge in conversational CX right now? More than support, okay? While support definitely is the number two, number one is actually marketing, okay? Like we were discussing, right? What is that right amount of marketing you have to do to keep the customers engaged, but it should not become spam for the business? That has been the most difficult thing to look at. Like I have, obviously everybody would have the Zomato and Swiggy. You must be ordering from them, right? But how many of you have actually read promotional messages from Zomato and Swiggy for discount coupons? Maybe youth does, but anybody who is like 30 plus, would they read those messages? At least I haven't seen people reading those promotional messages at all. Okay. But I would apply a discount coupon when I'm about to purchase. Okay. When I have something in the cart, obviously, if it's a food delivery, then I'm buying something, only then there's something in the cart, right? Otherwise, I wouldn't keep something in the cart and keep it forever. I might do it on Amazon, but not with Swiggy or Zomato. So can you push that promotional code at that moment when I'm selecting things which I want to order right now? Okay. So just because I ordered twice last 2 days, I was in the new office, we ordered tea here because there was no vending machine. So third day I got the vending machine, I wouldn't order tea anymore from Swiggy, right? So Swiggy keeps sending me discount coupons for tea right now. Okay, but I wouldn't buy it. So that's the biggest challenge for marketers. What is that uh, right message to send to the customer at the right time, and that would need customer data platforms. You either build it in-house or you buy something from the market. Okay, so Zoho in fact is a pretty big CDP which people can use, but again it's individual's choice. But you definitely need a CDP platform to get into all of this. That's my take on what's the biggest challenge.
Prashant, while you were telling about this data, one thing it triggered my mind. Like some of the players like Zomato and Swiggy, they maintain the customer data, say their names or something. Hope everyone might have experienced. We get a notification, "Hey Ram, the weather is cool. Why don't you order a coffee?" That was a push notification they used to send. But I don't think this kind of notifications, either a Myntra or anyone will send it. So maybe
No. So that's a simple app, right? So when you log in, they know your name, so they're sending it. Obviously, you won't get this on a website. You will always get it on mobile apps.
mobile
Okay.
apps. Yeah.
Because the app, the business knows who you are, what you are, where you are. So they're tracking everything. So obviously, they'll send those promotional messages.
Anyway, they have all this data maintenance. Maybe any right CDP, Zoho CRM, or Zoho Desk or something. They can do a push notification. The basic things. That's the human touch people expect. So that would be consistently.
And see. And while the number two issue, right? Like I said, support. If your support team cannot handle a request in e-commerce, that's a big red mark on the business itself. Support teams have to be empowered to handle routine challenges. Okay. And do you have processes in place where you are evaluating what kind of support tickets you get every day and what kind of changes you need in your storage units, in your godowns, logistic units, your partner side, to address those issues at a large scale? That's something e-commerce companies would have to definitely look at.
Right.
I think we lost Garima, is it? Oh, you're there. Okay.
Am I audible?
Yeah, you are.
Actually, it's raining very heavily. Just bear with me when I'm not.
Yeah. Also, one point we didn't touch upon. This is one of my favorite topics.
While we're discussing CX challenges in e-commerce, can we also talk about scalability a bit? Because the end goal of all brands. Yeah. Am I audible?
Yes, you are, Garima. In middle, we lost you for a fraction of seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying that while we are discussing CX challenges, scalability also remains a big challenge when it comes to e-commerce brands, right? And along with scalability, staying customer-centric, staying customer-focused is also very important. So how are you looking at this part of the story when we talk about the rise of e-commerce in India? And also building customer retention, customer loyalty, customer satisfaction, because these should not be mere terms, right? Like we are looking at companies' websites and apps. These need to be translated to see that happening. And how would you suggest brands to navigate through these challenges?
So let me take that first. So I think we briefly discussed about customer data platforms, investing into that. That would be one of the critical components when businesses are trying to scale. Okay. So unless you have invested into the right technology, scaling up at e-commerce is very volatile, right? You could be doing 1,000 transactions today. You run a promotion. Your marketing team did an excellent job, and tomorrow you could be doing 10,000 transactions. So there's 10x volume or maybe 100x volume if you're too lucky. Okay. Now, how do you scale to that? Again, I come back to that point. Cloud platforms have solved most of those issues of scalability, at least from transaction point of view, right? If you have 100x visitors on the website, there is auto scaling, so you're able to push in more infra and manage that traffic. But handling traffic is just the simplest of the issues right now. Now, obviously, only 3% or 4% of those visitors purchase your products. What happens to that 96% is the most important part. Can you actually track their behavior? Can you actually see why they haven't yet purchased from your site? See, and I think this is the common thing which SEO does, right? You look at what is your bounce rate on the website and try to optimize it. Even Ozontel would do that for our own website visitors. We want more leads on the website. Okay, so the e-commerce site would obviously want more registrations. You would also want more purchases, which are happening. Okay, now uh, uh, one biggest flaw there is the marketing team should look at. We do understand you need customer information for future promotions, okay? But do you allow? There are pretty simple things like, do you allow transacting on your site even without me registering? Can I be a guest and still buy something from your site? Okay. If you don't allow that, that would result in a huge dropout the moment I go to the cart, because you to the purchase button, you would ask me to register to purchase. I don't want to register on the site. I might be buying it once. Okay. So why do I need to register? Can't I just log in as a guest and purchase that item, uh, right, without even naming myself? Or can I just put in my card, purchase that item, and move out? So it depends on the uh, kind of blockers which your customers face on the site. And at scale, Garima, the problem is also 100x. Okay, so you have the problem with 1,000 users, and you get 100,000 users. It's 100x problem. So that's why analyzing data day in day out is the biggest job in an e-commerce company, if you ask me. Unless you're doing that, unless you know your customer metrics, how your user behave on the website, how your orders go through, what are your percentage delays in deliveries, what are your percentage support tickets that come up in terms of number of transactions your site has done today. Unless you know those metrics, you can control those metrics. It's a pretty difficult task to scale for any e-commerce company. Okay. And usually what I've seen is some of our customers, they, especially support teams, what they do is they track percentage tickets versus total transactions. Okay. So if I get 100 tickets on 100,000 transactions today, that's pretty much within control. It's hardly 0.1%. But tomorrow, if I get 10,000 tickets on 100,000, obviously I'm at 10% compared to maybe last week. So these are the kind of analytics which would help scale those processes completely. Okay. Also, in terms of scalability, right? What I see is more than cart abandonment, payment gateway failures are the biggest challenge which e-commerce sites will need to address. Even UPI fails sometimes, right? Your bank processing is down, so you can't do UPI transactions yet. UPI is up, but maybe your HDFC Bank or ICICI Bank is down and you can't transact right now. And most of these purchases might be impulse purchases. So I might not buy it later after an hour. Now, can the e-commerce company contact that customer and get the transaction done then and there? Do you have a team for it? Do you monitor it? Those are the kind of things you should look at. One interesting use case I think we discussed some time back also is do you actually connect with the customer and ask them if they want help if payment gateway failures happen? That is something to look at in terms of processes. And how do you prioritize, right? You prioritize by the transaction amount. The largest amount which was failing in the payment gateway, that is the customer whom you should talk to first, and in that sequential order. And can you monitor conversions from payment gateway failures to conversions? Okay, and you should usually do A/B testing. So do it with human intervention and do it without any intervention. Maybe just send them a reminder that you couldn't pay, the payment gateways are up, or can you try it now with a different thing? You can use our pay it later option to purchase the product, things like that, and see what works, right? Usually what we've seen is human interaction gets more sales done, especially in payment gateway failures. Okay. So these are the kind of things which you will have to look at scale, because while human intervention works, what if you get 100x scale? Do you want a 100x team, or you will automate some part of it? You will get some things done with a team who is just handling these scenarios, right?
Right.
So those are the processes which people have to look at when scaling up.
Prakash, on this scalability part, which connects me very couple of years back, which everyone might have experienced. One of the brands, right? Not taking the name, they might have not anticipated tens and thousands of orders in one go, right? So the complete platform was down. It was not working, and the big sales and all happened on a single day. They might have not anticipated or forecasted. So, and later on they would be sitting on some very expensive space and automation, and no orders come in. So that has allowed to preserve the capital, but their operations can't keep up when demand spikes. So customers, the e-commerce page should they should make sure they likely invest the right technologies which can scale up when the spike happens. It can be a call volume, it can be a data maintenance, like the CDPs, and it can be like you mentioned, the WhatsApp messaging and all, right? So it can be any communications, data maintenance. They should make sure to fulfill their operations uh, by anticipating right amount of load or traffic on their platform.
Right. And we also have one question from Deepika here. She wants to understand if you have any insights to share on the CX on offline business. We are, just to update, we are using CDP for both platforms, online or offline.
So especially for the offline, right? This is where while we were talking about omni-channel, because we are from the communication space, right? Both Zoho and Ozontel. But actually, when you look at offline, right, the customer is still, that's a channel. Okay, that's also a channel. So can you still track that customer? Do you know it is Prashant who came to your offline store and purchased something? So I think most of the stores now ask for the mobile number, right? So mobile number is the easiest way you can track people, whether they are the same people who are actually coming online and purchasing versus who are coming to your store and purchasing. Now, if I was transacting offline for the past 5 and I moved online for the 6th time, there is a change in customer behavior, right? So do you promote for your offline store or do you promote for the online store then? Okay, so these are the kind of things, and especially if you have offline and online both, knowing your customer would be the biggest thing. Okay, more than voice of the customer, it is knowing your customer. So at every interaction which happens, do you know it is the same customer? That will be the most critical part. And Deepika, if you're not collecting the customers' details when they visit offline, in fact, you're losing a lot of insights which you would get from those transactions. Because I might be an online purchaser for example, shoes, okay? But when I want my formal shirts and trousers, I might be an offline customer, okay? So that will tell you what you should market, what you should promote to me, online versus offline. So you can give me a discount coupon for shoes, I'll go online and purchase it. But if you give me a discount coupon for your online store for trousers, I will never use it. I'll never look at it because I'm an offline guy for that purchase. Okay. Especially because you're an apparel, I was taking apparel examples, but yeah, these are the kind of things you should look at.
Right, right. And Ram, would you like to elaborate upon the role of technology in building holistic CX strategies? Would you like to take that question up?
From a technology point of view, like we were conversing on all these points, every part of the journey, be it a pre-purchase, during the transit, or during the journey, he needs somewhere communications. Like Deepika was asking about the offline experience and the online experience. He would like to be having a same experience across the stores or online websites, right? So what is the technology you would like to use to communicate with them? Either you can ask them to communicate over a call, that is one of the touch base. Generally in India, we prefer to call and speak. And now the youngsters, everyone started communicating on a chat or SMS. And thanks to this WhatsApp thing and all, it again started another revolution. We can have a bot in place. And like Prashant was mentioning in the starting of this conversation, the AI can again start helping us to automate some of the product purchase or during the journey. So I'll take an example in the delivery process. We when I would like to know what is my shipment detail, or where is my order, is it in transit, or is it in, it can be a courier, a small courier, or Amazon product services. So I would like to easily know in this busy life, right? People are working, work from homes are happening, they're completely occupied, and that's Apple, isn't it? So they would like to easily communicate and get the information. It's all about the data. So we can ask them to go for a voice channel, give a missed call, and get the input immediately, right? That can be one aspect. Or maybe an e-commerce can publish a number and ask them to send a WhatsApp message, say, hi, where is my transit? Where is the product detail? So easily the bot can reply to that, right? And now this CDP is in place, we can integrate. The APIs are open now. Lot of technology is in place in India, and we are now, unlike in good olden days, now India is a hub for startups. So every small app, right, we are installing on the mobiles. It can be a Zomato or Myntra, any e-commerce app. So we can easily communicate with another application, a third-party tool, and the data exchange with the securities and all in place, the policies in place. The encryption can happen. Both applications can integrate each other. It can be a voice channel, WhatsApp channel, and the data channel, and we can give a right solution or right answer to the consumer, uh, getting to know about the details. It can be a product details, or if I would like to know, I took an example in the delivery, pre journey of buying the purchase and all, right? I can also get some more details instantly. I can search for a keyword and get to know about the product which is available. It can be a fashion, retails and all, right? And the bots can help instantly, right?
Right, Ram. And as you are sharing your insights on this, I would also like to understand how would you break down hyper personalization in this side of the story? Because we are talking about engaging the customer throughout the journey, right? In every phase of their transaction, of their buying journey. So what does hyper personalization actually mean, and what does it look like when it comes to simple, transaction with the brand?
These shopping websites and all, right, they recommend similar products based on the browsing history, right? Like if I have searched, typically I feel sometimes Apple, when I've searched something on a Google, then suddenly I get an email alert about it, or real estate, or any brand I searched in the Google. So it's all tied up. So the data is being shared across different platforms, just because we are connected to a common either email ID or a mobile number which is shared across. So, so that's like a business model now, right? That combines the behavioral and real-time brand can extract from its customers.
Right. Right.
So
And yeah, Prashant.
to put it simply, basically, you would have seen a lot of times when you're ordering something, at the bottom you would get other customers have ordered these two things along with this item. Okay,
Yeah.
buy as a bundle. So that's hyper personalization to an extent, because again, you don't know, right? Uh, I might be buying shoes for a different reason compared to the other guy. Okay, I might be buying it for fashion, whereas the other guy is buying it for need. Okay, so uh, while that works to an extent, what really has to be analyzed and thought through before going into hyper personalization mode is can you actually promote something to the customer which is really insightful, and can you get feedback from the customer if it was useful or not? Okay.
Right.
But I think we expect too much. You don't expect every customer to react or give feedback. But even those 1% customers who give feedback are really important, because that is what will drive on how you engage with the rest 99%. Okay.
Right.
So e-commerce sites, while you do hyper personalization, one thing to look at is, do you allow the user to opt out, right? Maybe the user is not interested. Okay, can you opt out is one basic thing which I think everybody does now. If you're not doing, it's a crime actually. Okay, I think legally also it's a crime now. But uh, other than that, do you actually allow the user uh, to actually tell you what he needs, right? Like you given him an offer. Can I actually type out and tell the e-commerce sites, I don't want this, I need this as a bundle, and can you make that a bundle for that customer? Okay, this is like a wish I have, but I don't see any site doing it yet. But usually, let's say yesterday I bought what was that? Uh, I bought a hanger where I can hang bags. Okay, it's just a stand. Okay. What Amazon showed me was that along with the hanger, they were showing me a wall hook which I can put it into the wall, right? I can drill it into the wall and put cloths or anything else. But obviously, the reason I'm buying a stand hanger is that I don't want to drill the wall. Okay, logically, that's the reason why I'm buying that. Now, can I tell Amazon that I don't want something which hooks which can be drilled into the wall? But what I along with this is a matching table where I can actually put, or a matching bookshelf which I can actually just uh, keep somewhere else. Okay, a small bookshelf kind of a thing. Okay, which goes with it, or a fancy hanging holder which I can put there and put my keychains and everything else with the same stand. So things like that. Those are the kind of things which I would say are hyper personalization for me. But it's a long way because it's not just about knowing it as a person, right? Now think of the e-commerce company which has to do it at a 1 million or 10 million customers level, right? So how do you get there? That's the biggest challenge. That's why people group it and do the easier part, which is you can say people who bought this also bought something else based on a trend. That's the easier way to look at it.
On a
And
real
not only that, Prashant, actually, see, apart from that, say if you are searching something and based on your purchase history, if you bought something and if there is a new item in that particular category, or you searched something and you left out, but if there is some price changes or discounts added, or if any promotions or new product in that category, so those are all your purchase history, and what are the category of products you looked at it, and based on the demographics, and what you searched and the brands you looked at, and these are all the stuff which are being used now for hyper customization. So that, see, you are looking into something, and when you go to that same site next time, they will display the recently viewed items. So that's one
Yeah.
kind of personal hyper personalization, right? So, and if there is any special discount for that particular location based items, so that's one kind of personalization. So we can say whatever user looking into inside the e-com site, not only e-com site, in even as you said, if you are looking into something in Facebook, and if you are searching in Amazon, that ad will come into Facebook. So we are being tracked Literally, we are completely tracked, and that data is there everywhere with all of those big guys. And using that data, they are providing this personalized. Sometimes it looks good because we will be searching something and we don't find the matching product which we are looking for exactly. But the suggestion will be good based on our search pattern and search category. They will suggest something good which will be the actual one we are looking for. So that kind of experience
Yep.
based on the hyper customization, based on the data collected from us.
So I think Garima, yeah, she's back. Hey, Garima, we lost you for a few minutes.
Garima, I
Actually,
think
as per the statistics,
Ishwar,
20%
Ishwar has,
of the personalized programs yielding a 20% higher volume, customer satisfaction, and even in sales, it's bringing 10 to 15% additional sales. This hyper customization, and
Yes, we have. Sorry.
even 80% of customers are going to purchase from that suggested products comparatively when we don't suggest something.
true, yeah.
We
Looks like
have
there's
one.
somebody who raised a hand. Yeah.
Yes. Mr. M.K. Ishwar. Garima, if you can take that.
Yeah.
Good evening to all of you. Am I audible?
Yes.
Yes.
Good evening. Am I audible to all of you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So with whatever Mr. Rajesh Kannan was talking about, so I just wanted to ask a tangential question. Basically, like, this privacy is, when we're talking about customer hyper personalization, data, and all those things, right? Is there something where all these things will lead to privacy loss and things like that on a probably in the next 3 to 4 years? Because every data of everybody is available on the space, right? And people can use it to their liking. So unfortunately, I think how these cyber security and privacy and personalization, all these things has to have some kind of a connect at some point of time, because we are actually traveling towards a data world, right, where everything is being leveraged to the business advantage, even though we call it as customer experience is becoming great, right? So
Yes.
I just wanted, since there's a lot of experts here, I wanted to have an opinion from all of you here. Is there anything is going to come across like this? Because end of the day, I think I have heard about it today. If you take USA, the largest fear any American has got is loss of his mobile phone. Okay, so because he feels that the data, everything is there in his mobile actually, right? So when we are talking about this subject, I think I wanted to know from all the experts here. So will there be any guarantee? Because I think tomorrow it's going to happen like this, right? Customers is also going to say that their windows are open, houses are open, data are open, everything is open, right? Everything is available. So this is my question actually. So if I probably get some insights into it, I'll be happy.
Yeah, you are right on that, sir. Actually, as per your expectation, the entire world is going towards us, and the first bill was via GDPR. So previous, we can say pre-GDPR and post-GDPR. So nowadays, yeah, if you see each and every these big companies or everyone. So if even though they collect the data, they will be having a segregation like where are all they are sharing data, and they will provide you option to exclude that. If you use now, it's possible to inform them that you don't want to track that data. Earlier, it was not that option. Now the customer centric focus is going on, and these laws are making it happen, and the customer can decide where to share the data and to whom to share the data. And as per my knowledge, India is preparing for the two, and we will be heading towards that very soon.
Right. I'm
In
not
terms
sure.
of hyper customization, yes, as you said, for this customer hyper customization, these data are critical. But say, for example, if we have Zoho Commerce, we have Zoho CRM, Zoho Desk, and you are searching inside the Zoho suite, and if if you are allowing us to track the metrics, then we can provide you better experience inside Zoho Commerce. But we will not sell this data to Amazon or Facebook. So you cannot expect, if you search something inside Zoho and looking for another suggestion in Facebook or Amazon, we will not do that. So that's why we are, again, I don't want to promote Zoho now, but it's the realistic way. As in introduction, Garima said, Zoho is entirely privacy focused. So we will be having this data with us, and we will do the hyper customization for customers with that data, but we will not say. And here too, you will have, as a customer, you will have an option to say not to track these data and metrics. You will have that option.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you, but I am more on the side of the protecting the data. Like you say, Zoho will not share, but what happened to Yahoo? And today, I don't know, the latest news is Southern Railway or Central Railway is selling the data of all the passengers. It's there in the public, right? I don't know whether you are aware of it. So what, I mean, even though it's out of the context, but what I'm trying to say is, no company has got rights to sell the data directly or to use the data differently, right? But unfortunately, in a digital world today, the data is going to be sitting on top of everything, and everybody gets data. So the trust, which is right now, you are saying Zoho. In fact, Zoho is a company which is of high reliability and trust, and I also joined with you. But unfortunately, whether the company is spending towards protecting the data. So that is what is my question, because the hacking science has become so good, right? While we are developing customer experience, there are somebody who is developing millions of money to hack the hack the sites also, right? So that is what I am trying to say, that every person, I am predicting, I may be wrong also, I am predicting in the next 2 to 3 years, everybody's personal data is out. When you talk about hyper personalization, because hyper personalization is not, it's like something like somebody knows my needs very clearly, right? Whether I'm telling, please track my data or not, right? It's like, suppose I know Prashant knows what food I like, right? I will tell Prashant. So it is something like that. When you talk about hyper personalization, you are getting into a, what do you call, layers below, right? What food I like, when do I like the food, along with the food, what I like. Every desire is to be exposed to someone so that they can give me a better experience. But there are both two sides to it, right? One side is this, other side is it's very critical that I am exposing myself. So naturally, even at a conscious level, when I'm exposing myself, my fear will be whether this will rely only for that purpose, right? Or whether this will get hacked. So I think the top of the fear will be that in the next, 1 or 2 years. So every company should work on that also, like how to protect the data of the customer, right? While they will not consciously do a mistake to share with somebody, but it can be, in a crude sense, it can be stolen also, right? So this is
once the law is implemented, then this question will be ruled out, right? Say, once the law is implemented, I have to oblige to the law, right? So if I am tracking some data, I have to show you where I am selling the data and what are the data I am tracking, and I have to allow you to say me that don't track this data and don't sell that. So if I violate that, then there is the law protectors who will put me on huge fine or ban the business. So that's what previously tracked data will be sold. So that we cannot do. But from that point, once the law is implemented, the futuristic one will not happen. But for the previous data, historical data, I don't think we can. I believe we will be allowed to remove that data. So if the business is not supporting that, they have to support that. But till the time, the data will be with there. And once the law is implemented, means they have to obey that law, right? So at that time, this will be perfectly fine.
Ram, would you like to add to that?
Yeah.
Yes, please, guys. I'm sorry, I took too much time.
Uh, that's a good pointers. Ishwar, let me add some more thought process here. What Rajesh has given. So what I feel is there was an era we were just on a Google and all. Our contacts are already there. But initially, even I had the same question what Ishwar had, right? What if my data is lost? My numbers, my personal information. The Google has all the photos and all. Similarly, with this any other apps, right? We're already sharing our mobile number as a exchange. That's where we get a OTPs and all instantly. We can connect with any other application, third parties. So what I feel is when you're now the era is in such a way we need to be compliant, right? So the people are now changing. The trend is changing. So just we cannot take any technology just like that. Now there is a lot on the internet. You can search, identify. Even in Ozontel, right? For a voice technology, there are all our enterprise clients are going through a info checklist, right? Information securities. So are we doing a PII information, or is it being maintained? So is the credit card information is being maintained? And some of the clients, maybe Prashant can add when he worked with US process, right? So the PII information, when you are on the call, they need an option to stop the recording, So all this something every one of us, right? When we are choosing a technology, we should choose in such a way all these are compliant, and we have it's like a process driven, and the e-commerce sites and all, they can use a SSL certificate, the socket layer certificate, secured when, right? So that the data security and all is in control. So I think this is something in this next trend, right? In the next couple of years, we should focus on, and the next generation definitely choose these trends, because already the startups and all this era is already going on, and it's completely developed. The next generation will be the same focus point what Ishwar has highlighted. How is my data to be prevented? So we have to go through some process, some trends, some approach has to be followed.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ram. See, only I was a little, I thought this will be beyond the scope of this, this thing. So that's why I am restricting myself. So what I really meant was this usage of my privacy data is not very transparent, right? While we signed the agreement that, we will not use this data, like Rajesh Khanna was saying that, I agree to everything and you agree to everything. There is a compliance, there is a law. But I really don't know how my data is being used. Under surveys, it's a critical exposure to business. There should be some pointers that, for example, now let's say I'll put it in a simple fashion. Like my Aadhaar card is somebody is swiping now. So if you are having an unauthorized entry of your ATM, like you are getting a notification, right? So Ishwar, did you draw that 5,000 rupees? If not, so please reply, something like that. So like that, no, there should be some things to be implemented one-to-one, where it is not mere compliance, right? It's okay, because compliance law is always there to break. There will be somebody to break, right? I am not saying, X company will break, Y company will break, right? We are all talking very theoretical. I am only talking about accidents, okay? So there has to be, there will be an accident. An accident happens only once, right? It doesn't happen every day. And accidents happen after compliance, after rules and everything. Okay, that's what I feel. I belong to that this thing, even though I'm pessimistic, you can consider. But I always feel that data theft has got a lot of implications. So basically, I feel there has to be a mechanism at some point of time that the one of the customer, your company can have 1 million customers, but how the data is being used. There has to be some kind of a mechanism. I am not very clear on what is the mechanism. It has to come that some report has to come to him on a monthly basis if he is a regular or active user, which is using the platform or whatever it is. This is what is my this thing to improve the confidence and trust level. Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you, Mr. Ishwar. I think there are time constraints and we might have to take a separate session on this. That is a very question.
That's why I apologize. No issues.
It's fine.
Because,
it's fine. I'm glad that you brought this question up during the session. It's a very valid, argument. And I think
Thank you.
Ram and Prashant and Rajesh can take that up separately sometime later on. And I think now we can move towards the end of our discussion with some of the key CX trends that you're looking at, which e-commerce brands must watch out for. So Prashant, I would like you to conclude the session for us.
So some of the key things is, first thing, like I said, right, is your basic platform set for addressing modern challenges or modern requirements which come up in e-commerce. Okay. Second thing is scale. So does that same set address your scale, or do you need to move to phase 2 where you change certain aspects of your backend infra to address scale, especially when you do 10x or 100x of the current volumes? More importantly, based on the last discussion we had on security, right? While we talk of hyper personalization, as marketers, you might want to market very specific things to customers, right? IT teams will have to focus on how do you look at secure data versus unsecure data. See, a profile of a customer with his credit card is very, very secure. Okay. So my name, my address, and my credit card number, which the e-commerce site might store, they're very, very secure, and that information has to be encrypted, cannot be used without a login. Things, standard security measures have to be there. But there is a lot of data on user behavior. Okay, what products have I bought? What kind of products did I look at on your website? Okay, this can be looked at anonymized when you make this as a user as an ICP. Okay, the user, when you make him an ICP, the data is anonymized because you're using my browsing data, but not my personal information. So these are two separate things to look at when you're looking at it from an IT point of view. Okay, so that would in fact reduce a lot of your security risk because then you know what's your highly secure data and what something which your marketers can use to analyze, build some amount of personalization to users. So you might feel, oh, this company is tracking me in detail, but actually the company is tracking just your profile. They're looking at more a group of maybe 100,000 users like you, and they're building a profile and promoting things to that 100,000 people together. So you're one among those 100,000 people who get those messages. So yeah, there is certain risk to it, and that's one of the important things IT teams have to take care. The final point would be, are you future proof? Okay, right. So while e-commerce right now mostly is on the site and the app, right? It's moving to a place where we are not very far away from those sci-fi movies where your devices would order for you. Okay, right. Like I haven't gone to a grocery store probably in the last 2 years. Most of it is online. Any number of these instant delivery solutions, right? We order from that. In the future, maybe my device would do it for me because there's a trend. I have been ordering it for the last 2 years. And the system already knows what I've been doing, right? I might as well put a software to just order it for me, unless I want to manually go and intervene, right? So, right. So is the business able to be future-proof where orders right now, while they are through mobile apps, right? You already have started getting, for example, there are kitchens which can automate everything, right? There are machines which have come up for cooking. Okay. Now the machine can order on its own. If you allow it, it can order on its own. Okay. Now, but can your e-commerce site merge with it? Can you integrate with it? Are you future-proof in that sense? Now, then comes the question of security. Is it the right machine? Is somebody hack into it, right? Then that's also important. So these are the kind of things which e-commerce businesses will have to look at to be future-proof. And I don't think automation for things like this is not very far away, maybe 2-3 years away. So
Mhm.
that's something to really look at, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have given us some very important questions to think about, Prashant. And Ram, would you also like to add, please?
Yeah, I would like to conclude this saying by every one of us, we can invest in a right technology that support employees so that they can have a workload and ability to give a 360-degree view of communication flow, right? Because the consumers are coming in different, channels, and the brands can more likely to retain both customers and employees and maintain the satisfactory or satisfaction of the consumer, right? So when we speak about this different channels, so may 2-3 points which I would like to retain is automating the touch points. It can be sending an alerts, messages, calls, anything, or emails, let's say. The contactless personal communication, the data, and the scalability play a much bigger role here than one can possibly imagine.
Right.
To conclude by serving through AI and appearing intelligent, like Prashant was taking some use cases,
Yeah.
companies and e-commerce can build a strong brand perception and eventually can give a better CX.
Absolutely, absolutely, Ram. Rajesh, your final remarks, please.
Yeah, so as a e-commerce player, what I will be like to do is, so for marketing, so I have to establish my brand. I have to put my brand in each and everyone's mind. That's one thing. Second thing is, once the customer comes into my e-commerce site, then I have to know each and every action the customer is doing. And even though there is a security concern which we discussed with Iswar about tracking, but tracking the data and using it for hyper customized experience for the customer, so that's good. But whether we are going to sell this to other one, that's a security question. So we will track and the complete process from landing the page to checking out or after the process. So our system should have process inside where if, say, for example, one person looking into the item but not adding into cart, so we should know, the system should know. And if there is any alert mechanism or push notification, as Ram said, we have to follow up with the customer. A salesperson will do that manually, but instead our system should have the capability to do that automatically, identifying what's the stage, whether he added in a cart but not checked out, so we can reach them. And if checked out but it's failed, we have to proactive and make the process, make the alert saying that this payment is pending with the bank and you will get it reverted or with us. So before customer reaching us, we have to proactively reaching the customer to give a better feel like we are being cared by this vendor. So that's the feel we have to give for the customer. And after support, obviously. So after support, whether it's refund or issue, so we have to set the process like what are the complete process, and we have to make a flow chart, and that should be perfectly fitted with the system so that each and every process will be automated, and manual interventions would be for only for the critical stuff or which we cannot automate. So that's how the system should be, so that as a business owner we will be in we will have a clear picture of where we are, and we can focus on the customer experience instead of small processes. So
Right.
that will be good one, I think.
Absolutely. And I think all of you have brilliantly articulated what the modern customer is exactly looking for and what are the conservations in that sense. Is he confused? Is he overwhelmed? And what exactly is the experience he is looking for? So thank you so much for making time for this conversation, Prashant, Ram, and Rajesh. And I also thank our audience for coming up with such insightful and thought-provoking questions. Thank you for staying with us till the end. So thank you once again, everyone. It was lovely listening to all of you and learning from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for being here today.
Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye.